I choose life and life chooses me today. Hello.
He's back.
Last 2 nights have really, really sucked. And I should have figured this out earlier. So I'm always tinkering, as you guys know, with like different supplements and stuff like that. So I have one rule for myself when it comes to supplements. And this is one that I've learned online from a lot of professionals that you guys might want to take a listen to, is anything that says proprietary blend pretty much means that they don't really have to tell you exactly what's in there, right? So I found this one supplement that I was really, really excited about that was supposed to help with inflammation. I took it for 2 nights and ended up violently sick in the middle of the night. It happened after the first night. I just thought I had like a stomach flu and didn't think about it, and then had it but I was feeling fine during the day. And then I took it again the night after and then had violent stomach aches again. And it was Amanda that figured it out. It's like, you're taking something because you feel good during the day. So when you take those proprietary blends, they can throw anything they want in there. It's a weird type thing. I don't know what it was, but I know that I didn't take it last night and I'm okay today.
There you go. The mystery has been solved.
It's been solved. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I'm good. Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's good, I think.
Oh, did you do a little self-tanner?
Yes, but I took a 10-minute shower this morning so that it doesn't turn from bronze to borderline cancelable.
That's right.
It's just too little too late.
No, it looks really nice.
Yes.
It looks really good. It looks very natural. I forgot that you have a big event tonight that we're going to talk about later.
I do have a big event tonight, so I could not be showing up looking like Elmer's glue.
Okay.
Hence why I decided to go for a nice mocha latte
Okay.
instead.
It is. It's nice.
Thank
It looks
you.
healthy. How you doing, Mo?
I'm good. Nothing real. I'm with Kristen. January is a long month.
Why is that?
I don't know, but everybody thinks it because the memes are everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think for a multitude of reasons.
Well, you're not drinking.
Well, dry January has definitely aided in making this the longest month known to man. But I think the news is also making it drag on a long
really?
time too. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it just feels like the beginning of the year kind of sets up the momentum for the rest of the year. So I feel like people always pay attention to what's going on in the beginning. And this month been monthing.
Is that right? I guess I'm at the point in my life now where I'm glad that I have longer months because I'm getting a little older. And the news cycle really isn't bothering me.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting into an algorithm now that I sort of know the dance, because I want to be up on top of news. And I know when I go into this algorithm, the world is coming to an end. And when I go into this algorithm, this is the greatest time in U.S. history. And then I can decipher between the two. It's funny. I've been going to websites outside the United States for news inside the United States, so it's not one-sided.
You have a balance. My algorithm seems to be full of panic.
Is that right? Yeah, the world's on fire, right? So I did make a mistake while I was out the last couple of days, and I got the dog guilt. So I promised I would never have dogs in my bed. It was my parents' law back in the day, and while I do love animals, I do not like having dogs in my bed, man.
Yeah, I've recalled over the years how disgusted you would get when I would tell you that we allowed our dogs in the bed. Now, granted, they don't sleep with us anymore, but they still have access to the bed.
Absolutely not, especially with an English bulldog that I have also, because they naturally stank. There are some dogs that just stank more than others. So that in my bed, plus she sheds so much. Well, I get home from Florida on Sunday and she was looking at me, Franny was looking at me with such guilt and such want. Like, how could you leave me for that long? And you got to remember, this is a dog I adopted about a year ago who each and every month seems to get more adopted to her new environment.
She's acclimating.
And now she's like a real dog. She's following me around the house. When I got in from Florida, she's following me around the house, which she never does. She comes into my room, which she never does. So I'm like, okay, tonight you could be in bed just for a couple of hours. So I put a different comforter down there. And I remember the last time I had her in bed, she's so big. She's like 50 pounds. She tried jumping off the bed. I'm like, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt at some point. So I got her this ramp to go into my bed. Again, this is the guy that is never going to have a dog in his bed, buys a ramp. Okay. So I trained her for one day to get up in the ramp, which she's absolutely terrified by. And then yesterday, I put the ramp up saying, look, if you want to come on up, and I put a different comforter up there so it wouldn't stink so much. And she looked at it like, there's no way. She's like, you know, and I know I'm not going up that ramp. So I'm like, that's on you, girl. So
the promised land's up here. But the only thing is you got to use the ramp to get here. Right.
So I'm sitting there working on my computer, not giving her any treats or anything. And she just decides, comes right up and then goes right down. So I took the ramp away because she's not spending the night. She's absolutely not spending the night in there because she snores so loud. I took the ramp away and she looked at me like, how dare you invite me in and then won't let me stay there with you. So I have created a problem now with this dog where I think in the daytime, and that's a tough train. Like, you're allowed to be in here during the day, but not the night. It's tough for her.
Yeah, good luck explaining that to a dog. A dog's not going to understand that.
She ain't going to get that.
She's not going to get that at all.
You're just toying with her emotions at this time.
You're teasing her.
I mean, I've learned this about women anyway. When they make their first request and you say no, it's just a matter of time before they get their way anyway. It's no different than a dog. Same thing happened to me this year. That's happened the last 5 years. You know, when they're going to announce the Academy Award nominations. I'm all excited about it to see who is going to get the nod. And then all the nominations come out and I realize I haven't seen not one of these movies.
Not one?
Not one. I hadn't even heard of some of them.
I've never seen one either.
Rebecca says there is a reason why you should be more in touch with them.
Yes, sir. I am bringing the Bert Show to the Oscars. Yeah, so I kind of made a quick judgment call that I believe you guys have probably only seen Wicked out of the lineup, if anything.
Can you run through the lineup real quick? And we can
do have it.
Okay.
Let's see who's seen how many of these movies. And no, I have not seen Wicked because I've seen the stage presentation 48 times.
Movie's a little different. It is very good. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay.
So the best pick noms this year are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked.
All right, I saw Dune Part 2 on a plane.
Huh?
I didn't see not a one.
Just Wicked.
I haven't heard of half of them, honestly. I have heard of Amelia Perez, and I want to watch it. And I started to, and then it was all in Spanish, and I was like, I'm too dumb for this right now.
I think once you have kids also, man, anything that's not G-rated is just taking up time.
Yeah.
So the only one I have seen is Wicked. The other one that I've heard the most about is The Substance, which I want to see, but it's classified as horror, and I'm not a fan of horror movies.
It's a little bit of a body horror satire.
Okay.
It's my favorite out of the lineup.
Really?
For sure. Love it. It is a weird list this year because I haven't heard of a few of them either.
So I had heard, or at least read, that there are a lot of foreign nominations this year.
Yes.
And a lot of people think it's because the wildfires were going out in Los Angeles, and those that were supposed to vote and hadn't voted yet had other things on their mind to panic about.
Like their homes?
Like their homes and their lives. So they didn't vote nearly as much this year as they have. So international movies and actresses will be highlighted.
I could see that being true, especially for one title, and I think I'll get into that. But today, all of this is changing for you guys because you are officially a part of the Academy.
Okay.
And I'm giving you screeners. I've chosen the Best Picture nom for each of you based on your personality. And Bert, you are first up.
Okay.
I chose your Best Picture nom for a number of reasons.
Okay.
Your movie is The Brutalist.
The Brutalist.
Is that the one that's about the Holocaust?
Yeah.
As a Jewish guy, I can sort of connect to it. Yeah.
What does a Jew love more than a movie about the horrors of the Holocaust?
And we just had Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Perfect. So timely. This is a sweeping wartime epic starring Adrian Brody as a visionary architect escaping post-war Europe and settling down in America. As you've mentioned before, you have trouble sleeping. Put on this 3.5 hour retrospective. 3.5 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, about architecture. You'll never need Ambien again.
Okay. I'd rather watch Wicked.
Yeah. But I think this interests you because you've made it known that you really like AI. This movie has become very controversial because the editor came out and said that the movie is filled with generative AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's faced a lot of backlash.
Okay.
Okay, Kristen.
Yes, ma'am.
Before I share your movie, I just want to preface that I do not think you're old.
I know where this is going.
And I think you're a star.
Give it to me.
That being said,
Yep. What
your
is it?
movie is The Substance.
The Substance.
Yes.
What is it?
The Substance.
What is it?
Oh, my favorite movie this year. So good. Okay, The Substance follows Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, who on her 50th birthday realizes her star in the entertainment world is fading after she is fired from her long-running aerobics TV show.
You mean women face ageism in Hollywood?
Can you believe it?
Never.
Distraught, she chooses to take the black market substance that promises a younger, more beautiful, more perfect version of herself.
Is this a horror movie about Ozempic?
Honestly, it has parallels, and it does not go well.
I mean, that looks like the needle Dr. Elizabeth put in my face the other day for my Daxify.
So there was a guy in my theater when I saw this, I talked about, who ran out because he literally had to vomit because it was so gross.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Wow.
But you're a mother.
Yes.
You've seen gross things. You've changed poopy diapers.
Oh, I've seen far worse than a poopy diaper.
I'm prescribing you the substance.
Do you know, I almost turned it on the other day. Like, I actually pulled it up. I was looking at it. I was reading it because I've heard so many good things about it. And the fact that Demi Moore won her first ever major award with the Golden Globes. And I'm like, I'm going to watch this. But then I saw the category was horror. And I'm like, I don't do horror movies.
Maybe we need to have a screening at Tommy's house and we'll all be there for moral support because I want to see it too.
I would love that.
Will you watch your first horror movie in years?
I'm not driving a
You lost
power.
all the movie.
What's more horrifying than a horror movie? Driving out to suburbia in Georgia.
Let's go streaking. Nobody behind you.
All right, Cassie, you speak French, right?
Oui, oui.
All right, well, this will not help you because this musical, Amelia Perez, is a crime comedy musical told completely in Spanish, made by a French director who doesn't understand a single word of Espanol.
All right, well, that does deserve an award.
It's about a Mexican cartel leader who needs help faking their death so that she can live authentically as a trans woman. And it's terrible.
Dang, they are covering all the niches.
Yeah.
It's a very, very bad movie.
And it's a musical?
It's a musical.
Oh, it is a musical.
Yep.
And it's bad, but it has Zoe Saldana and Selena Gomez in it. And they are great.
Well, you had me at always held up. All of a sudden, I'm interested.
You're going to hate it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, then
It's very polarizing. It's a very polarizing movie.
See, you will hate it.
Yeah, it's bad. There's a lot of reasons that it's bad. It's just crazy.
So you picked the asinine movie musical that everyone hates based on my personality.
well, you're a lot smarter than me because I saw this and I was like, the only one who could comprehend what is happening in this movie, I think, is you.
Well, okay, thank you. Now I take it as a compliment.
All right, Mo.
Yeah.
I was between two movies with you. I didn't know.
That's always the thing with
I
me.
know. You're hard to quantify. Okay, I didn't know if I should give you a Nora or Dune Part 2 because I was like, what would you like better? An epic science fiction space opera or strippers?
Yeah.
And I ultimately went with the space opera. Space opera.
I think it's at least safe.
It's safe. All right, we'll
Do
go
they
with
really
that.
sing in that? Or are you just making a joke?
No, space opera is it's like this epic tale. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I really thought we were talking about some singing.
I did too. I did too.
No.
Thankfully, I wasn't the only one. I'm like, God, how many musicals are there nominated for Best Picture?
And they're not even telling us beforehand. Right.
This is not the one where Timmy sings. There's
Okay.
another one where Timmy sings.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But I actually really think you'd like this. Out of
Really?
every recommendation, watch Dune Part 1 and Part 2. It's so good. The action's so good. Timothy Chalamet, Ding Dong, and Zendaya are great. I really think you'd like it.
All right. I appreciate it.
Abby,
I know which one you're going to give me.
do you? I feel like you do.
Yeah.
Do you remember being a Christian?
Oh, wait, this is not the direction I thought we were going in.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm giving you Conclave.
Conclave, not the movie about the Pope.
But
Yes.
it's a musical.
Is this the one that Voldemort's in?
Voldemort is in it.
Voldemort plays the Pope.
Yes, Ralph Fiennes is in it. He plays Cardinal Lawrence. This is the perfect movie for you because it is about a cardinal uncovering conspiracies within the Catholic Church. And it's the perfect movie for anyone having a crisis of faith.
Oh my God, it's a biopic.
Well, I hope you guys are prepared for 2 to 3 hours of your life for these movies.
Really quick, who are you?
Who am I?
Yes.
Well, I gotta be the substance.
You gotta
What?
be, okay, we'll put the substance together.
Can't share the
Yeah.
substance
Let's take it.
Yeah, you can't share this stuff.
The substance is perfect for two people, let me tell you right now.
Maybe the timing of us doing that improv show with Dad's Garage was perfect for Mo because he had to improv quite a bit at his own solo comedy show a couple of nights ago, yeah?
That's true. That's exactly what happened. It was one of those situations where someone reached out to me and asked me to support their journey of love. And so I asked my team to help me make this moment really special for them. And I realized that when you do comedy and you ask your team to help you at a comedy show, they usually get really nervous and just miss all the cues, everything that you rehearsed on and everything you practiced. And it's like everything went wrong, but everything kind of went right at the same time. So I knew things were going to go kind of left from the beginning because this couple reached out. Well, the guy in the couple reached out to me and was like, I know this is a long shot, man, but I have been considering where I'm going to propose to my lady for the longest now. And we're both huge fans of comedy. We're both huge fans of you. And
You're going to need that for marriage.
And I just feel like we should do it at your show. So I'm like, okay, bet. It'll be
What
an
an
honor.
honor, yeah.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. So he asked me exactly how we should do it. So I told him, I said, all right, look, this is how we'll do it. We will, you'll be at your seat. Your lady won't have any idea what's going on. I'm going to try to make this as obvious for you as I possibly can. There's going to come a time towards the end of the show where I just cut to start talking about marriage. And I'm going to set it up, which I don't know. I thought all of the women in my family and my lady's family were going to be really mad at me because I didn't know if I should do this or not, but I just decided to go for it. So the way that I set it up was at first I made a joke about marriage because most of my supporters know how I feel about marriage. But then I started talking about, but sometime you meet somebody that really changes your mind and gives you a different point of view.
Mo.
I am sick to my stomach.
I did it. But I never said it was me. I just set it up to where you just might think that.
Did you give your lady a heads up, though?
Oh, my lady was in on the whole thing. Yeah, I would never do this to her. That's obvious.
Okay, that changes
Yeah,
things.
we thought you had forgotten her, so she's sitting in the audience going, oh my God.
No, the women in her family. I would never do that to her. I just didn't know if my mom and sisters would feel the way that I kind of had them going with everybody else.
For sure. Because, of course, knowing what we know of your mom and that she is such a family woman, wants you to find the love of your life, wants you to get married. She wants grandbabies, right?
Right.
So you doing that?
That's
low.
Yeah.
That's low. I mean, I love it, but that's low.
See, the thing is, I didn't want the actual surprise of the proposal. I didn't want them to know. I wanted that to be a surprise for them as well. So the only way for me to do that was to not tell them about the setup. So I was kind of hesitant about that at first, but I just said, whatever happens, happens. It's a comedy show. So my mom, I could tell she was already in her head because towards the, when the show was about to start, someone had the idea of her bringing me out because I've had my dad bring me out. My mom has never wanted to do it. She's always so nervous. And I think she was always in her head about it. So it was kind of perfect because it was so last minute that she didn't have time to overthink it. So I asked her to bring me out and I told her, I said, all you got to do, mama, is wait for the DJ to call your name. You go out there, tell him who you are. You don't have to tell a joke. You can literally just go out there and say it now for my son if you forget all you want to say. And then he goes up and says, all right, y'all, are y'all ready to get it started? And she just walks out at that point. She's, hey, I'm like, mama, no. All right, forget it. Go. So at that point, I kind of knew, all right, I don't think everybody's going to be following the cues that I had set up for them. So now we get towards the end of the show. It comes time for the proposal. And me and my man are the only two in the building that know this is about to happen. So what he's supposed to do is wait for me to get through the joke of when the music starts, I'm going to start playing music. That's when you stand up and you do your thing.
It's a very, very obvious cue.
It's so obvious.
But when a man is about to propose, the level of nerves is not comprehensible, and all reasoning goes out the window.
1,000% that's what happened. So
oh, bless his heart.
I'm up there and I'm pretty sure he was getting his liquid courage on, trying to get right for the moment. And I'm up there and I'm setting it up, and I can hear the crowd kind of trying to piece together, is he talking about him? Who's about, because I'm trying to sauce it up. You meet the one and you start to change and you start to feel certain ways about certain things, and then I can hear them go.
You can hear it start to build the audience.
I can see it. And then
you got him right where you want him.
I got him right, and I'm just about to drop the line of, but it ain't me. That was the end of the line. And then as soon as I said that, my DJ was supposed to hit the music, and it was like this real sexual, romantic music that he was supposed to stand up and do. Before I could even get halfway through the joke, I see him stand up. Now, I'm the first one who sees him stand up. Nobody really sees him stand up because everybody's looking at me.
Yeah, anybody who sees him stand up is like, well, that's a weird time to go use the bathroom.
Right. So he stands up, and I'm kind of trying to tell the joke, but notion to him at the same time, like, you're ruining it, my dude.
Yeah.
You're messing it up. And I think he just said, hell with it. We didn't even get the mic to him yet. Like,
Come on.
No.
Yes, it was. Our intern Lamario was bringing him the microphone so that he can do his spiel on the microphone so we all can hear it. He ran through the whole thing.
Jokes.
By the time the microphone got to him, his lady's already crying. He already did we missed everything, so he kind of had to redo it. Like by the time we got the mic to him, it was like, all right, man, just do it again so we can at least hear it.
So we can share in this. This is not about him anymore.
Yes.
It's about you and your setup.
The man ruined it. But she ended up crying. My whole family was crying. Everybody was crying. It still was a beautiful moment. Congratulations to the newly engaged couple.
But what did your mama say to you after the show?
She was like, I was about to be mad until I saw how special the moment was and the tears flew, and then she was like, I understood. So I didn't get in trouble.
55%, the majority of Americans that watch football say that the Monday after the game should be a national holiday.
You know what? If your team is in it, sure. If your team is not in it,
Whoa, that's not fair.
get up and go to work.
As a Cowboys fan, I can understand why you might think that.
I'm going to work for years.
I totally agree with Kristen here. I think it's a silly argument. It's a football game. If you're going to be a man or a woman at night, be a man or a woman in the morning. It's a football game. Get up. Get up. However, according to Kristen, and I love this idea also, there is a city in New Jersey, because the Eagles are so close to the city in Jersey, that has said, look, school districts in Jersey, there are 2 of them, are saying after the game on Monday, kids can come in late. Yeah. 2 hours. I like that idea.
I'm not mad at that.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think the whole city should do it.
I do too.
actually. Only with the teams that are playing in the Super Bowl, though.
Agreed.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
got to be a low production day. I mean, you might as well.
Yeah.
I think, what's the number of
Something terrible.
yeah, how much money we lose that, or how much businesses lose that day because of productivity?
Yeah, it's silly. It's silly.
It's crazy.
I'll make this prediction that in a couple of years we will have this. The NFL has been talking about expanding the season to 18 games for the longest time. Of course, they want to make more money, right? Well, if they do that and they extend the week or the season one more week, the Super Bowl would end up on a Sunday where you've got Monday off for President's Day.
Oh, but also you have to remember it very well could fall on Valentine's Day.
Oh, but then we got real problems. Then you got real problems.
That's a good point.
All right, our intern Sadie here just wants to help Abby out. She's heard Abby dating also, and we're all throwing ideas out at Abby. Our intern Sadie is a good friend.
This is a rock bottom when the interns have to come help me out. A grown adult who pays taxes.
Look, I did it and I tried it and it worked for me. And I was like, if it works for me, it's going to work for Abby. So I was giving up last week on Hinge. I was ready to just completely wipe my account clear and call it a day and wait for somebody to show up at my door. I'm done. All my For You page of men are just people I'm not compatible with. Like everyone that I feel like I'm compatible with is stuck in rose jail. Like, about the standouts. You only get 1 rose a week. So if you use it on Monday and then there's another one on Thursday, you're out of luck. So I just give up. I'm about to go delete it. I click delete account, and then it says, why are you leaving? You get, I met somebody. No. You get, I need a break from dating. Kind of. I'm not dating anyways. And then there's, I'm not happy with my Hinge experience. So I click that because I'm not happy with my Hinge experience.
I wonder what the stats are. Like when people go to delete their account and like depending on the option that they chose, like I wonder how many are, I met somebody, or how many just say, I'm so sick of this. I would rather stick needles in my eyes and say another moment on Hinge.
I'm guessing that's the vast majority.
Yeah.
Well, and there's like also a prefer not to say. And I'm like, I don't know if it makes a difference on what you click. So I clicked, I'm not happy with Hinge.
Yeah, well, you're not.
No, I'm
Right.
not.
It's
I'm
not
happy
you.
at all.
It's not a you problem. It's a Hinge problem.
We're going to blame it on Hinge. So instead of like a confirmed delete, I get a, how about a fresh start?
Well, who
It
doesn't
says-
want one of those?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
It says, dating isn't a perfect science. With Fresh Start, you can reset your discovery feed while keeping your profile and matches.
All right, so this is their Hail Mary to keep you
Yeah.
on the site and get
Yeah.
your money.
It's
'Cause
very
as long-
smart.
Yeah, as
Sure.
long as you're on there, you're a potential paying customer. So I'm like, sure, I'll try it. Press it. I'm telling you, as soon as I hit that try it button, everyone that was in Rose Jail has been released. They are in my For You page. I can give them normal likes. I'm getting gorgeous men with nice profiles, good professions. They're funny. They actually text back. They're not disgusting when they make little comments on my pictures. It was like a whole new world.
But doesn't this make you mad? Because, like, where was Hinge hiding all these men before?
in Rose Jail, apparently.
In Rose Jail. And
want you
yeah,
to pay.
it is. It's super frustrating because, all the months I've been scrolling, they've just been gatekeeping all these people and it's confirmed. Like, it's 100% confirmed.
So how many times are you allowed to do that?
That's what I'm wondering is like, I don't know if it works for everyone because I kind of did a little TikTok search because everything on TikTok is true. And TikTok,
Everything on TikTok is what the Chinese government wants you to know.
and TikTok says that I guess it doesn't work every time. But I feel like if you try and do it enough times, surely they'd be like, all right, we'll let you have it.
You're bugging us. At this point, you're bugging us.
Yeah.
Give us your money and we'll let you go.
So basically, I just have to cheat the system, say I'm going to delete my account, and then it's going to give me a refresh with all these hotties that want to date me.
Supposedly, I mean, it worked for me, so I feel like it's worth a shot.
Okay, well, this is better than my my alternate plan, which was just to start dating women. So let's try this first.
All right, so it's Jenna here that needed the Bert Show's help, and in a very dangerous way, because she wants to now start dating her friend's ex-boyfriend. Hey, Jenna, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. All right. So I know that we've already done this for you in retrospect. I don't know the results, though. So what was our assignment?
Well, I wanted you to help find out if I don't know. I have a chance with my crush, who's actually my friend's ex-boyfriend.
Ooh.
That complicates
Right.
things just a smidge.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Yeah. So a friend of mine recently broke up with her boyfriend, and she's not like a best friend, but she's definitely a friend that I, see, and I talk to her regularly. So the plot twist is that I've had a crush on her boyfriend for years, like long before they even started dating, and I always just kept it to myself and respected their relationship. But now they're broken up, and I couldn't help but wonder if there's even like the slightest chance he'd consider dating me. So
Yeah, now that they've broken up, we can throw all respect out the window.
And trust. I think we need a definition here of, was this a best friend? Was this a B-level friend? A C-level? Downtrending D?
I guess I would call her like a B- because she's not like a best friend, but she's like in my life regularly because we have a lot of mutual friends that we share.
Okay, there's the problem. Even if she's B-, if you do this and it backfires, it backfires on the whole group, causing tension with everybody, right?
Yep, they're going to ice you out.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to go through with this knowing that you're probably going to lose that friendship. You feel like that's worth it?
I mean, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am totally willing to sell that friendship out. Right?
What is it about him that makes you willing to put yourself out there like this?
He just is such a good person, and we just have such an easy rapport together. We always have, and it's just kind of like my dream guy, but it's always been bad timing. He's always been with somebody, or I've been with somebody. And I don't want to be disrespectful to my friend or like make things awkward. I really don't. So I'm hesitant.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you almost want confirmation. Now I understand where you're going with this. You want confirmation from the dude that it would be a green light before you even start to approach and risk this friendship, right? Normally, I would say we could help you out with this if we recorded it and we could handle it in a very delicate way, because there should be a way to flirt with the guy or get the info without him like knowing what you're doing, so it doesn't get back to your friend. But we left this in our show director Tommy's hands, who's like a bull in a china shop when it comes to this kind of thing.
I did, and I posed this to the guy. I did reach out, and I posed it as a new segment on the Bert Show.
Okay.
I'll reveal what the segment is coming up, but it involves 5 questions and 5 answers, and I'll say this. there's a chance.
Oh, really?
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's what I said, Kristen.
Love is back.
We will give you all the results here in just a couple of seconds, okay, Jenna? Jenna now has been on the phone for 10 minutes waiting to see what fate holds for her. She has sort of fallen for one of her friend's exes. And before she approaches the friend to say, hey, just want to let you know I'm going out with your ex, she wanted us to reach out to the friend's ex just to see if there's any chance at all, any little bit of sign of a green light.
Now, she didn't fall for him after her friend started dating him and after they broke up. Apparently, she's had a crush on this dude for years prior to her friend dating. She's just always just kept her mouth shut and hasn't said anything about it. But now she's single, he's single. Should she shoot her shot?
And it's not a top tier friend.
No, it's not.
B minus.
It's a B minus friend here, but she might be exploding the entire social group.
But we got some
if it
wiggle
goes
room
wrong. Oh, how?
because she's a B minus friend.
Yeah.
If it was best friend, we wouldn't be doing this. But we got some wiggle room.
Well, let's ask Jenna. If it was a best friend, would we be doing this?
Oh, no.
Of course not.
Heck no. Oh, Bert Show, what are you saying?
How dare you suggest Jenna has no scruples?
All right, Jenna, so you wanted us to reach out to the friend's ex just to see if there was a chance before you pursue this and maybe even risk the friendship. So we put this in our show director Tommy's hands, and he got results for you.
And before the break, Bert, I teased that I was saying there's a chance because I reached out to John. I said, hey, John, I'm
John.
Tommy from the Bert Show. We're a radio morning show, part-time podcast.
When you use that cute voice in your emails, of course you're going to get a response back.
Well, this is how, I envision it coming across to John because that was the intent.
This is how you want it to be received.
Yes. Don't worry. I'm not here to put you on the spot too much. We have a new segment on the Bert Show.
Oh, yeah, bringing him into your enthusiasm.
It's called Testing the Waters.
Okay.
We should have done this on Tuesday. It could have been Testing the Waters Tuesday. Oh, well. Someone out there might have a crush on you, John, and might be curious about your dating preferences. So we have 5 questions we'd like to ask you. Below are the questions.
This is the first email. You don't even have a response back yet?
No.
I mean, why not go ahead and give him the questions?
All
That way he can go
right.
ahead and peruse them and make the decision.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
throwing it all out there.
Time is money.
I don't have time to ask, hey, do you want to answer these questions? Yes, Tommy, I want to answer these questions. And then ask him a question. I go all in.
You're a busy man. You got things to do. You got tricks to Buc-ee's ahead of you.
This ain't my first relationship rodeo. Below are the questions. Hopefully you'll indulge our requests. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to ask. And so I put together 5 questions. Question number 1. Would you ever date someone who knows your ex? Question number 2. How do you feel about dating someone you've known for a while? Number 3. Do you think chemistry is more important than the circumstances of how 2 people meet? Number 4. What's your stance on dating a friend of a friend? Does it complicate things or make them easier? 5. Do you have an idea who might be your crush? And do you have a crush on anybody?
Nice questions, Thomas.
That was very well set up.
John emailed me back about an hour later. Said, well, you've certainly piqued my interest. How could I not engage? So he answers question number 1. So I'll go back to the question. I'll say the question, then I'll give his response. Would you ever date someone who knows your ex? John responded, wow, starting strong out the gate. Honestly, it would depend on how well they know each other. If they're super close, that could get a little too awkward. But if it's more of a casual connection, I don't think it's a deal breaker.
Right. He's thinking this all the way through. Okay.
I'd be open to it if everything else felt right.
All right.
Question number 2 was, how do you feel about dating someone you've known for a while? John said, I think there's actually something nice about that. If you already have an established history, kind of skip some of the awkward getting to know you stuff. And on the flip side, if things go south, it might affect the group dynamic. But overall, I think I'd be okay with it. Number 3.
This dude is a thinker like you, man.
Yeah.
He's taking it from every angle.
He's a very balanced answer.
Do you think chemistry is more important than the circumstances of how 2 people meet? John answered, oh, for sure. Chemistry is everything. I think you can't force or fake it. And if you've got it, then the circumstances don't matter as much. I mean, life's complicated sometimes, right? You've just got to go with what feels right. Question 4. What's your stance on dating a friend of a friend? Does it complicate things or make them easier? John replied, it's a bit of both. It could complicate things if other people in the group have strong opinions, but I feel like if 2 people are happy, the rest shouldn't matter. I think it might.
This is you. This is you,
I'm starting
man.
to think I wrote this.
Analyzing every line.
Jenna, is your crush Mo Mitchell from The Bert Show?
All right, so John went on to say, I think it might even make things easier because you already share mutual connections and trust. So, yeah, I'd consider it. And the last question, question number 5, do you have an idea who might be your crush? And do you have a crush on anybody? And he responded, no clue and no current crush for me. And then he went on to say, I've answered your questions as best I can, but curious, will you ever disclose who the crush is?
Your turn.
And I said, thanks so much for the answer, John. Unfortunately, we've been sworn to secrecy, but maybe your crush will make herself known soon. Take care.
All right. So he's not opposed to it, but it's still very, very vague.
So I'm gonna throw this. I don't want to rain on your crush parade, but here comes the storm.
okay.
Here comes the storm clouds.
Oh no.
We have talked about this time and time again, Bert and Mo. So he's like, obviously, he's okay with dating somebody who knows his ex, friends with his ex, whatever. However, they've known each other for years. If he wanted to, he would have, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's a little wiggle room
Not
on this one.
necessarily.
Is there?
Yeah, because he might be hesitant to shoot his shot in knowing that he already dated the friend.
Yep.
Thinking that she would probably
Yeah.
say no, even if I did like her.
There's some wiggle room in this one.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the friend, I would absolutely feel that he should have made a move. But that's like a weird barrier. And also, we don't really know what their relationship is. Like, have they only met a couple of times to where it
Okay.
doesn't constitute a crush? I see how maybe making a move on him might be the right move for her.
Are you making a move, Jenna?
I think I'm going to make a move.
Yeah, you just got the green light. Go for it, man. Life is short. What?
Nothing.
What?
What?
Texting tutor?
No, not a texting tutor, but I'm wondering, okay, so this was step 1. She still has a friend to consider. Should we do the same thing anonymously with her friend to see if her friend would be hurt if somebody dated one of her exes?
Sure. Why not? I mean, it's a B- friend, so our answer doesn't really matter. But,
But we can get the
but sure.
We got thoughts.
You want to do that, Jenna?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm
Okay.
in.
All right.
Okay.
Jenna, like, I'm doing it either way.
I mean, if we did it for the guy, I feel like it's only polite to do it for the friend to see how she would feel if one of her friends, so-called
Yeah.
friends, dated an ex.
What kind of questions are we going to ask her? How would you feel if a B- friend betrayed you? Behind your back?
Save that,
Dated your
yes.
ex?
Yes, Tommy, save it. Sometimes as a mom, whether it be a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, you just need a little reset. And by reset, I mean 24 hours away from your child or children and your spouse. So I'm toying with this idea. I want to test it out with my friends and then potentially do it with Bert Show listeners. And I'm thinking about doing a Momcation where all my mom friends, we get a cabin not too far away, however big it needs to be. And for 24 hours, we don't have a spouse in our ear. We don't have a kid in our ear. We just have female frivolity.
Ooh.
And that is it. So my question for a Bert Show fam is, if you have 24 hours away from your spouse and your child, what would you like to do with that? Now, I know what I would like to do, and that's nothing, but sometimes that's not the most exciting thing to do. So 1-855-BERT-SHOW, 855-237-8746. So again, I want to test this out first with my mom friends. So Cassie, get prepared for the text message.
Yeah.
So again, we would meet at a cabin and then we would literally be there for just 24 hours. So one night and then go home the next day. Because I'm being sincere when I say sometimes that's all you need just to get some body out, autonomy back and to set your mind straight. And there is something to be said about female friendship.
So I'm not a mommy, but I do know in the times where I had my kids when they were much, much younger, right? And there is no taking a break there, man. It is 24/7. That if I had 24 hours, like for me, the last thing I want to do is continue to talk to other people.
that's
Like
the
I
thing.
want to do it exactly by myself and sit in silence.
So that's what I'm thinking. I think when you arrive, I'm thinking about having like, hey, we could do a yoga sesh when you arrive if you want to do like that. You bring a book. And you can find a little cozy nook somewhere in the cabin in front of the fire. You can, read your book. You can do whatever. You can put your earbuds in. This is like your solo downtime. I'm thinking I want to get a chef because I don't want anybody to have to clean a pot or pan. I don't want anybody to have to cook any food. So we would have snacks readily available, plenty of charcuterie boards. We'd have somebody do lunch, dinner, and then breakfast the next morning. And then that night, after we've been there and decompressed, we could pop open the bottles of wine or whatever your beverage of choice, or maybe a mocktail if that's your thing.
That night, girl, I'm opening it as soon as I arrive.
Yeah, okay. And if that's what you want to do, like that's the thing. Like there's no judging. It's literally like whatever you need to decompress and to reset yourself so you can be the best mom possible. That's what I want this to be about.
Hey, Jasmine, good morning. You're part of the Bert Show. Hi, you got some suggestions?
Well, we're already doing it this weekend. We're going to a cabin. We leave tomorrow, and we're coming back Sunday. We're going up to Blue Ridge. It's going to be 30 of us women.
Wow.
And we're doing like a wig exchange. We got a bunch of liquor, alcohol. We got a hot tub. We're doing an 80s party. We do a onesies party. So, yeah, just no husbands, no kids, just us 30 women.
Now,
Good
there are
for you.
30 people. Does that mean friends, invited friends? Will there be women there that you are meeting for the very first time?
Right.
Oh, there
So
are.
Everybody's good. Some people are going to be new. Some people are friends. Some people, we don't know each. Some people we don't even know. But all of us 30 women.
I think the key to these weekends, because that sounds amazing.
Does it?
It does, but you have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm thinking I'm going, like, I want to open the wine, read my book, then maybe traveling masseuse.
Yes.
So I'll pay
Yeah.
for a massage that evening, then hang out with friends that evening. The next morning, I'm down for yoga, then we can wrap it up. So if I'm expecting like a chill weekend and I go and it's like themed parties, no. But if I know we're going out of town for a party weekend, then I'm down. I just need to prepare myself.
This might be a personality type, but just knowing that I'm going for 24 hours to a place where there are going to be some people there that I don't know makes me not want to do it.
That would be the
I would do it with friends, but if there are going to be people there I don't know that I'm going to have to like put a face on for, that 24 hours away from the kids is just...
But that's the thing. You're not having to put on a face. Like, that's what I want. Like, I think you can do this. And that's how desperate moms are for a break, that we're willing to hang out with strangers just to get away from our families. No, but I'm saying, like, there should be no face you have to put on. Like, literally, I want this to be so low key. I don't want anybody to have to dress up. I want to be cozy. I want to wear sweats. I don't want to have to worry about doing my hair. I don't want to have to worry about doing makeup. Like, I want to be as sloth-like as possible, and let my brain just take the biggest giant dump ever, and then have some fun with some like new friends, old friends, and cocktails.
Oh yeah, new people in that kind of environment is the best, because that's what I think made my Ireland trip so special, was
Right?
going to a completely different place with a bunch of randos where we don't have any history, to where when you want to let your hair down, you can just do that and start fresh. It's like a summer camp experience as an adult, just making friends when you had no prior history.
People got ideas.
All right.
Tammy, good morning. You're on the Bert Show.
Good morning. Okay, so first of all, I don't want any strangers here. Now, me and my friend, if there are 6 of us, we just need at least 12 bottles of wine, and that's it.
2 bottles of wine per person. Got it.
That sounds like more like my kind of party.
You mentioned it was only 24 hours, right?
That's the thing. Like, it's not too long. I don't feel like it's too short. Like, 24 hours away from your kid will feel like an eternity.
I should call it the Michael Jordan party. I know how you feel about them kids.
Yeah, F them kids. And there's minimal guilt there. You're literally just driving like an hour and a half or whatever to get this location. You're having that 24 hours to yourself, and then you're going back to your life.
I love
Hey,
it.
Angela, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Hi.
Silence by bubbles. I need champagne.
Okay.
I need quiet. Then I need somebody massaging my deep tissue back to make it feel like they're touching my front.
Okay.
That's deep.
Okay. I don't know how we follow up that. So
Damn.
there you go. You got some ideas.
I do have some ideas. So again, I want to test this out with my group of mom friends, and then maybe brainstorm this into something later in the year with some Bert Show listeners.
All right, Mo. So you put one of your dudes on the spot, did you?
I did, and I think I might have been wrong for it, but what's a comedy show if you can't make fun of your friends?
This was in front of a whole bunch of different people?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So I had an idea, and I think it went well. I don't think he's mad at me, but so one of my best friends DJs my comedy shows, and for me, it always feels like since he's gonna be on stage, and since I spend the most of my time with him anyway, I might as well make him a part of the show. So I'm curious, one, as to if y'all feel like this could have went bad, and two, what story would you have chose? Because so I wasn't sure if I wanted to speak to the dating situation he's currently in right now, because one, I didn't know if she was going to be there or not, but it's such good content that I was like, I really kind of want to do this. And he was on the fence about it. He was like, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. He wasn't sure. He left it up to me. So then what I decided to do, since I like to challenge myself at my shows, is give the audience an opportunity to decide what they want to hear.
They're always going to choose T, man.
Right. But I kind of teased it to where all three of them were T, but you could only get one. So you get one here. The other two would be on my podcast. And once they kind of got the idea of what the stories were, they wanted to change it, but I wasn't allowing anyone to change it. So the way I presented it was I brought my dude back out, which he tried to hide in the back. I wouldn't let that happen. I brought them out and I said, listen, in traveling with my guy, there are 3 experiences that I've had that I would share either one with you, but I want y'all to tell me which experience you want to hear about.
All right, break it down, and we're going to vote here too.
So I said he's currently in a dating situation with a woman who's in the audience. It's very awkward. There's a conversation that the two of them have not had, and I am willing to mediate that conversation right now in front of y'all.
And she is there.
I didn't know.
Okay.
That was the other thing about it. At this time that I'm presenting this, I don't know if she's there yet or not, right? So there was that. The other one was when we went to, on all of our trips that are traveling, all the things that we have done, there's one incident where he ended up on a table and he fully 1,000% believed that Michael Jackson was there. That's how out of his mind he was at this party. The third option was the option when he had to go to the hospital because of the person who spit in his mouth.
Oh.
And that's all I gave. That's it.
I'd go with one.
One.
Oh, one
Yeah, I
for
wanna hear
sure.
one, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was prepared to tell one. Nobody went with one.
What?
No, not one person in there went with one.
And that's why they don't have a radio show.
Everybody went with 3.
The spit in the mouth story?
That was the one.
That's too easy.
That's what I said. That's
Yeah.
the one they wanted to hear, which made me think. I think people thought it was a lot more salacious than it actually is. Because after when I told it, I'm like, honestly, that's the least intriguing of the 3 stories by far. But that's the story they went with. Which all that story is we were in Colombia at this time, and we were sitting at a table. And this guy
Is that how they greet each other in Colombia? Just right in their mouth?
That's their national anthem.
Because if so, ain't going.
No, not well. Some places you go, that's how they greet you, but not where we were. No, it was just it was another guy, random guy. He came to the table. He didn't look the cleanest. What he was wearing, the way he presented himself, and he came over to try to ask us a question. And in the middle of the question, I mean, you could see it.
Oh, no.
It was
The arc and everything.
it had that arc, and it just was flying, and it was just this big, just glob of saliva, and it landed directly on his. And I just remember it landing, and he said, he did like this. And that was the story. But now everybody was mad because they had to get the other 2 on my podcast, and those 2 are way better. Way better stories.
So tell people where they can find the 2 stories they didn't hear at your show on your podcast.
It's called In the Moment, spelled MOEMENT, and you can get it wherever you get your podcast.
I'm about to be a real buzzkill for Gen Z. If you were born between the ages of 1997 and 2012, which I believe Abby, correct? Jackson?
Correct.
Rebecca?
No.
Okay.
I'm a 94 baby.
Are you close?
I thought that I was the oldest, like, cutoff for Gen Z, like between Gen Z and millennial.
Okay.
I always call myself a zillennial.
Yeah, you're like a millennial sun, Gen Z rising.
I'm really hip.
So many houses, so many rising. All right, so if you think it is tough right now for Gen Zers as far as getting jobs and the economy, it very well could get worse for you guys here over the next couple of years. And I'm not exactly sure who's to blame. So let's chew on this. A new survey came out, and a significant portion of employers now say that they'd rather hire AI than a Gen Z graduate into their company.
That's crazy.
37% of employees say they'd rather hire AI than a recent graduate. Jackson, I saw you just kind of like look like, yeah, it makes sense.
I think it's totally valid.
Why?
I mean, when you think about the costs that go into training employees, getting them hiring competent employees, making sure that nobody's lying on resumes, going through that entire process takes a ton of time, a ton of resources, a ton of money. And so for you to just get rid of that entire process and have something that's basically just guaranteed to do the menial work that you think that you need to do, then it kind of makes sense.
That point will come up later because people are sort of complaining like, who's really to blame here? Is it budget cuts or is it Gen Z and their personalities? Okay. Because it says 68% of small business owners say Gen Zers were the least reliable of their employees. 71% said these younger workers were the most likely to have a workplace mental health issue, so they wouldn't hire them.
I feel like they said that about millennials when millennials were our age too. So I feel like it's less of a generation specific thing and more of a bias from boomers against the youngins who are just trying to figure it out.
I think that the one thing that is generationally specific, though, is that Gen Zs do a lot more job hopping than anyone else. That's like a very common thing that people do is you join one company, you stay there for a year or two just to get it on your resume, and then you use that leverage for salary and what you did in your experience there to move on to another place. And you just keep jumping from place to place, getting paid more and more and more. And it's becoming less and less worth it for companies to invest in their employees when they know that they're just going to jump ship in a couple of years.
That used to look poorly on you on a resume if you were jumping around that much. An employer would go, they're only going to be here 6 months, but I guess it doesn't have as much weight anymore.
Yeah, because it used to be being a lifer was like a very common thing for people from like my parents' generation, where you started at a company once you graduated college and you stayed there for your entire life, 40, 50 years at the same company. And that just does not happen anymore.
Well, it's because those companies stopped paying lifers. So that was the perk with being a lifer, is you got raises and promotions, and that stopped happening. So the new strategy is, if you're not going to pay me what I'm worth, I'm going to go to the next company that will.
I think, honestly, Gen Z already uses AI so much in school, in college, that it's like, why not just cut out the middleman, go straight to AI?
Here's the problem, too, and I think I told you guys this a couple of times now. Me and my 17-year-old son have sat down, and we're taking a look at his future, and he's trying to choose a major and a career. And I said to him, because he rattled off like 4 or 5 different careers, and I'm like, son, I got to be honest with you. If we look 10 years into the future, 5 years into the future, those jobs like marketing, for instance, why would you have somebody in there running analysis for you when AI is doing everything? So I told him, do 2 things: study AI and study business.
If you think ChatGPT can write a tweet better than me, you're absolutely right.
Facts. AI is not funnier than Rebecca.
A study interviewed 1,600 employers and full-time employers, and 96% of employers said most college educations aren't preparing people for their jobs. Altogether, 89% said they avoid hiring recent grads.
I totally get that. I mean, it's one of those things where they only want people who have experience in the field, but how are people in college going to get the experience in the first place? Right. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. And it's really interesting to see that now, instead of college educations being sort of the most important thing that job employers are looking for, things like going to a trade school, people like electricians, plumbers, HVAC, that's going to be way more of important of a hard skill, because that's one thing that actually can't be replaced by AI.
Yeah, I've been watching Landman lately, and I'm like, none of those guys right there are going to be replaced by AI. You need real hands on it. Now, in a separate survey that came out this morning, which is really interesting also, this one came out from Gallup, and it said the youngest generation of adult workers, Gen Z, already feel burned out. Only 31% say they felt engaged at work last year. So it goes both ways.
I wonder if it's just the hustle culture that we were raised with, because I know specifically my parents were really tough on me. And I look back at the superhuman that I was from 14 to 18, and I don't understand how I did. Like, I was working 18 hours, like from sunrise to sunset. I was doing something that I think you get to a point where you do that and you realize, oh, I did all of that for just for this? That's all that there is for life. And you just start to question, like, wow, my parents really put priorities in the wrong bucket.
A breakthrough that actually changed your life?
Yes, right? Surprising. Therapy actually works.
How about that?
Who would have thought?
If you can get all that ugly stuff out, then it works. But if you're hiding it from your therapist, why even spending your money?
Well, and it's not just that, but I also want to share, I think there are people out there who think therapy doesn't work because they're emotionally intelligent and you know the answers. So you're like, why would I go to a therapist and talk to someone when I know the action plan? I just can't make myself do it. It's a waste of money. But sometimes talking through stuff out loud helps you come to conclusions, even if it's you, the therapist. Think of them like your captain, right? So I think a lot of people go to therapists to be taught, like, I have this problem, and the therapist is like, here's a way that you could fix it. And that is very helpful. But then there are those who, and I'm guilty, I'm one of them, I'm like, no, I understand what the problem is. I know how to fix it. Why would I talk to a therapist?
I've always questioned the theory of self-awareness anyway, because you're looking at yourself through your own lens. So if your solo lens is off, then you're not self-aware. But I know a lot of people that have claimed to be self-aware that had no idea who they were. Zero.
And that's a very good point. And with my mom's diagnosis and everything going on in my life, if you don't know, we're still out of our house. It's been like 9 months at this point that we've been out of our house due to storm damage. And my mom has terminal cancer. And so I was like, let me book an appointment with a therapist preemptively. Like, I know I'm going to have some struggles. I'm going to have to explain death to my young children. Let me get ahead of this and start talking to someone now so that I can be prepared.
Good on you, man.
Thanks. And I did the first session, and the therapist is great, but I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, this is, as I'm talking it out, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going, what the answer is. And in the second session and talking, I said something aloud, and it was a light bulb moment for me. And she goes, say that again. And that would not have happened had I not been talking to a therapist. I would not have sat down and thought for an hour about my thoughts and feelings and really dissected it. So even if you think that you don't need a therapist, there's a big benefit there. And I realized in that session, I had been allowing so much stuff from my past to hold me back. Expectations on who I should be, how I should act, the things that people did to me in the past, which a few of those slights I had brought up to the person. Like when I went home for a trip, I talked to someone and I was like, you know what? You did these things to me in my past and they really messed me up and I've been carrying them for life. And you know what that person said? I don't even remember that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how do you not remember these defining moments in my life that I keep thinking about and that have defined my life moving forward and you don't even remember doing them? And so in talking to the therapist, I came to this realization and I wrote it down in my notes so that I could properly express it because I said it again and it was so liberating for me. And it was that I have the power to let stuff from my past go and I can control how it affects me moving forward. So if there is something from your past, a grudge, a slight that has affected how you act, it's your choice to let it go. And I know that sounds weird. I really do. But I think sometimes, especially if our family does something when we're growing up and it really sticks with us, you sort of let that define your relationships with your family and who you are moving forward. And I was like, I don't have to be that person. I don't have to hold on to that. I don't have to pay attention to that. It's okay for me to be who I am. And I realized throughout my life, my interactions with people, every time someone said something to me like, oh, that's interesting, or that's a unique take, or that's kind of awkward, I let it affect me, and I would shrink myself even more. And I'd be like, okay, well, I can't do that because that means I'm awkward and weird. And I can't do that because that means they won't like me. And I've become a shell of myself. And I have also adopted this trait where I mirror people's personalities back at them. So nobody really knows who I am because I'm like, all right, here's this person. This is how they like to hang out. So I'm just going to hang out like this. And I'm not going to bring up any of the subjects I like because in the past I've been told, well, that's neat. That's too introspective. That's too deep. I don't like it. And so I've shut myself down over and over and over again. And this is not on those people at all. This is on me, right? This is my burden to carry because you can control how you react to people, not what they do. But because of things stemming from my childhood, I've slowly molded myself into trying to be the most likable person, which is why I think sometimes on air, I get super ragey or super angry at segments because all of a sudden the dam overflows and I can't hold it back anymore and I just let it out. And so in realizing this, I'm like, it's okay for me to be who I am. And if those people don't like it, well, then they can go find someone else. I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And it sounds so obvious when you say it, right? Like, duh, be yourself. You know? But actually doing that, because approval is so important, whether it's from your parents, your friends, your boss, whatever, it's very hard to just be yourself. I mean, if you're a piece of crap, maybe don't be yourself. But I have let go of those things. And that's part of the reason now why I want to get a tattoo. Because my whole life I've been like, I can't get a tattoo. My parents wouldn't approve, which is ridiculous because I'm almost 40. But I love them. And that's how I was raised. And I want to make them proud still. That never goes away. And every move I have made is always for somebody else. It's for myself, but it's because somebody else wanted it, or I knew they would approve, or society would be like, thumbs up, you're doing a good job. This is what you're supposed to do. And I have finally stopped living that way. And I'm going through a little bit of a burnout phase. It's been a transition, but it is so liberating to decide I don't care what anyone else thinks. I am going to be myself. I'm going to share weird random facts on the internet because I love them and I think they're so cool. And if you don't like them, you can skip my story. Like, I'm going to get a tattoo because I want to. I mean, I feel like this is revelation I should have had at a quarter life crisis at the age of 25. But I'm a little stunted in that area. And I just want to encourage anyone out there who feels like a misfit, like they never quite fit in, or that you mask and you put on a face so that you can fit in, but you never feel like your connections are authentic because you're kind of playing a role. Drop the mask. You're not going to find your people until you drop the mask. And I think you'll find that people will accept you for who you are. And if they don't, why do you want to pretend to be that person's friend anyway? Why do you want to play into that role and make someone else's life happy, but be unhappy in your own because nobody knows you? So you have the power to let go of the past. You can control how you move forward in the future.
And you got that out of one session with a therapist?
I did. She's a great therapist.
People are going to be hitting you up today and go like, what's the name of that therapist?
I'll happily share, but good luck out there and stop pretending to be someone you're not to get approval.
Any bit is risky, but some are riskier than others, and a bunch of you guys are going to be tempted because you got the Super Bowl right around the corner.
Would you risk it all or would you play it safe? This is a story of pride, ego, and risk. And I'm curious as to what y'all think I should do.
Sidebar, because I wasn't here the last 2 days. Who are you guys rooting for in the Super Bowl? Or do you even care?
I could care less.
Couldn't care less.
I'm actually rooting for the Eagles.
Yeah.
No. Have you met her?
Taylor.
Don't even say it with a straight face.
Right.
I don't even know if I'm going to watch it.
Really?
Yeah, like that's how disinterested I am.
I'm kind of torn because the Philadelphia Eagles have a whole bunch of Georgia Bulldogs on there. There's like 5 of them, so my heart's kind of there. But I also like to be part of history, and no team has won 3 straight Super Bowls, and Kansas City can do that this time, so I don't know.
Oh, can I task you with you and Mo from a sports, and Abby, you too, from a pop culture standpoint? Can you guys put together some reasons why you think I should tune into the Super Bowl?
Sure.
Like why I should actually give an F?
It's not going to be easy, but yeah.
It's going to be tough this year.
Why should I care about the Super Bowl?
Are you never into it, or is it a this year thing?
It's a this year thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh well, I'm rooting for the Chiefs, and now I'm really rooting for the Chiefs because of this situation I found myself in. So my uncle has this Super Bowl pot every year, and it's a big deal. He normally tries to get about 50 people in it, and everybody puts in $50 to play. I lose at this thing every year. Never fails. Normally I lose because the Cowboys will make the playoffs, and I'm the guy that always takes my team, the Cowboys, to the Super Bowl, and obviously they never make it to the Super Bowl. So I always lose. This particular year, he calls me and he tries to get me to play. I say no 3 times. I'm like, this is just a waste of money. I'm trying to save my money. I've already lost enough money throughout the NFL season. I'm all good. I'm done. So the 3rd time he calls me, he's practically begging me. He's like, nephew, come on, man. Like, I need another person. If we don't get to 50 people, then the league doesn't work out the way he wants it to work out. So he's practically begging me.
And this is $50 you're talking about.
$50.
Okay.
He's like, you got the $50. You can do it. Blah, blah, blah. I said, all right, Unc, I'll play. I'll just play to help you out. So the way that it works is it's the playoffs. It's kind of like March Madness, if you will, for the NFL playoffs. So all 50 of these men, you choose what you believe the NFL bracket will look like, how you think it will play out. And I think what worked to my advantage this year was, one, I really didn't care because the Cowboys out. I'm genuinely picking off of nothing to do with my heart, just my brain.
That's nice.
Right. You usually perform much better that way. And everyone else, I think in the league, what I've noticed is there are so many people who do not want Kansas City to win that a lot of people eliminated themselves by trying to go against Kansas City throughout the playoffs.
You're going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. What are you, crazy?
Exactly.
No, you're betting against the NFL and the refs.
Well, a lot of people think that, right? So for me, I'm like, if this is just pure money, nothing else, just my mind, like Bert just said, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. If you've been watching football for the last 7 years, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to bet against this guy. Literally all he knows is winning, and since he's gotten into the league. So I start putting my bracket together, and for the first time since I've been doing this in like over a decade, I pretty much get every game right. Like I don't miss any games. And the way that it panned out, there's another guy in the league who we always in fantasy football go head up. Like it's always either him or me when it comes down to the end. So he's like my arch nemesis when it comes to all of this. And as it pans out, we're both like the final 2 teams. Everybody else that was in the last top 10 of the guys picked the Bills to win. So when the Kansas City beat the Bills, it came down to me and this guy. The difference is he's an Eagles fan. So he picked the Eagles. I picked the Chiefs. So the entire pot now is between the 2 of us, and it comes down to the Super Bowl.
And how much is up for grabs?
$5,000.
Dang, okay.
This is my first time actually having a chance to win it. So I'm thinking, all right, it's all done. We're both in the Super Bowl. Like, it's starting to feel like I play for the Chiefs at this point. I want to win so bad. This dude throws a curveball that I did not see coming. Sends me an email, and in the email says, I'm putting, the subject was putting my pride and ego to the side. Want to know if you're willing to do the same. So I'm like, what? So I open the email. This guy says, listen, it's been a tough year, right, for both of us. Financially, I feel like we could both use this money. Who can't? How about instead of us going against each other for the Super Bowl, we just decide here and now, whatever happens, we just enjoy the game. We split the pot. And at first, I'm like, hell no. I'm not doing that.
Sounds like a loser to me.
Right. That's exactly how I took it. There's no way I'm doing that.
This is the whole premise. Remember, I was telling you guys a couple of weeks ago about Beast Game or Beast Games on Amazon. Same type thing. Do you take the money yourself or do you give it to everybody? He wants to share it with you. And you're like, wait a minute.
So now I'm like, my initial reaction was, nah, I'm not going out like that. I got this far. I'm all in. I don't see Kansas City losing. But when I brought it to my friends, they were like, take the guaranteed 25. Like, why wouldn't you take it? There's no losing in that. Then you can just enjoy the game and it doesn't matter.
And I just looked it up, looked up the spread. Kansas City is only a 1.5 point favorite.
It can really go either way.
It is tight.
It's close. Both of these teams are really good. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if either team won. So it's just tough. I really don't know what to do. What would y'all do?
Well, it's a nice problem to have.
It is.
Right? Well, where are you financially?
I mean, like most, I could use the extra money. Who can't at this point? But it's not going to make or break me either way. I'll be fine. But the 25 in hand sounds promising. But that 5. Yeah, I think I'm leaning on going for the 5.
What are you doing, Abby?
For me, if I'm you and I'm in a position where I don't necessarily need the extra $2,500, I'm saying screw it. Let's just split it. Because if he ends up winning and then takes the 5, you're going to regret that decision. That's going to keep you up at night. Whereas if you end up having to split the $2,500 and then you end up winning, you're going to feel bad about it for a little bit. And then you're going to see that direct deposit and you're like, you know, it's fine.
That's a good point.
For this particular game,
It's just,
I would take the 2,500. It's
You
going to be
would.
so close that you're so close to losing all that cash. It's going to be so close. I'd walk away with the 2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, the fact that it's a 1.5 point spread towards Kansas City, it's a little too close for comfort for me. I need a couple more points.
Yep.
I'm taking the 2,500.
Okay. All right, play it
But
safe.
you don't play it safe.
I never do.
You going to go for it?
I don't know,
Not
man.
sure.
He told me he'll get me into the Pro Bowl, so I got into this weekend to decide.
Okay. All right. So we got this email from a listener. And again, this circulates around baby names and a couple of people having kids at the same time. And then the confusion about are we allowed to name them the same thing? Abby's got the email.
Hi, Bert Show team. My name is Laura, and I could really use some advice from you and your listeners about a disagreement in my family. My husband Colin and I are expecting our first child, a baby boy. Yay! I've dreamed of naming him Charles after my father and grandfather. It's a family tradition I've always wanted to continue. The thing is, Colin has a 17-year-old son from his first marriage, also named Charles, but he goes by Charlie. We rarely see Charlie now that he's away at college, and even though Charlie is no longer under our roof, Colin feels strongly that we can't name our son Charles too. He thinks it would be confusing and would hurt his ex-wife. Colin's ex-wife tends to always get her way, and he's convinced that this decision will upset her. I get that she might not love the idea, but honestly, I don't see why her feelings should dictate what I name our child. This name has so much meaning to me, and I don't feel like I should have to give it up just because his older son shares it. I've even suggested that our baby could go by a nickname or a middle name variation to make things easier, but Colin just isn't budging. So here's my question and request. Am I being unreasonable for wanting to use the name Charles? Would it really be so bad for two half-siblings who barely interact to share the same name? And should his ex-wife's opinion really carry this much weight in our decision? My husband knows I'm coming to you with this as we are both listeners of your show, so I'd love for you to do a poll with your listeners and get their take on this. I promise to show him the results either way. But please remember, I'm the pregnant one over here creating life best. Laura.
Women seem to feel more passionately about this as we've had this on the show for like 20 years than dudes do.
Well, he feels pretty passionate about it too since he's putting his foot down. Listen, I get for him, it would be weird to be like, here's my son Charles. Here's my other son Charles. It's like, but have fun with it. You have Charles 1 and you have Charles 2. Because if this was just a rando name that had no meaning, then I would be like him. This is her dad's name. This is her grandfather's name. This is a legacy name. It's a tradition. Sir, you're getting 2 Chucks.
Yep, I feel the same way.
2 Chucks?
2 Chucks, man. It is, like you said, it's a legacy name. If it were any other reason, I would see what the complaint is about, but if it's a legacy name, 2 Chucks.
No, I think it'd be weird as hell. I'm from the South, so I actually know somebody who pretty much had the same dilemma, and so they ended up naming the child the legacy name. It was like John or something, but they call him something completely different. It's just always been weird to me. I'm like, just name him what you're going to call him. Give Charles the middle name so it's there for sentimental reasons, and then give him the name he's actually going to go by.
Is it because we're still in January here and it's a new year, maybe, that you got a bunch of people in here that all of a sudden are having tattoo fever? What's going on?
There's something in the Berkshire water where everybody wants to get their body inked.
I think it started with Cassie talking about it, right? You want to get that phoenix?
I want to get a phoenix because I've gone through a transformative phase and the universe was sending me signs and I feel like it's time.
I'm down. For me, the tattoo situation is dealing with, as if you have listened before, my mother passed away a couple of years ago, so I wanted to get her handwriting kind of like traced on my body.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where I want to get it yet. I am thinking about like the wrist area, so I can always look down and see that. And then when I was at Mo's show, I actually came across, his sister was there. And I remember you telling on In the Moment that she wanted to be a tattoo artist and all that stuff. And it kind of clicked. And I was like, I shot my shot. I was like, hey, how would you feel about, maybe doing my first tattoo? It's just a tracing kind of thing. She was like, that sounds kind of cool, but I live in out of state, And then I was like, well, I know you visit your brother, so maybe next time you're in town, ink me up.
Do you think she just travels with her?
I don't know.
How does that work?
Yeah. It does sound. I don't really know.
I think there's a kid. I think she can travel with her kit. I never asked her or seen her travel with it before, but I know she has done a tattoo outside of the state that she lives in. I just got to ask her how she did that.
I would think that if you would have to get a license for the state that you're tattooing in.
I don't.
What's under the table?
Kaylee would probably know the answer to this, right? He used to do this.
Well, yeah, most tattoo artists have travel kits because a lot of them go to conventions and such. But yeah, you wouldn't need a license to just do it in somebody's like house or apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, but she should have a travel kit.
Well, that's a case, and we could do it on air.
Absolutely. If she is, could you reach out to her sometime, Mo? Because you definitely know her better than me.
She told you she would do it?
She said that she seemed like she was interested, but it was a busy night, and it was kind of like a conversation in passing.
I mean, I know she's passionate about it and she loves it. I don't remember exactly what happened to why the shop shut down that she was doing it in, and I think at that point it wasn't her fault. I can tell you that. But she started pursuing her art full time, but she was telling me that like she still wishes there was ways she could tattoo. So
well, I volunteer to give her my wrist.
I'm sure she'd be interested. I'm sure she'll do it.
Do you remember years ago in our old studio, we had a Bert Show listener come in, and was it a Bert Show tattoo we got? And we had to sit there and listen to the entire show, and my misophonia was going crazy because all you heard was like zzz.
Do you remember my friend Chris came in here and got a tattoo on the air also while he was talking about his new book?
Maybe that was it.
That was another one. Yeah. And Jackson, you want one now too?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this for years. Mine is way less sentimental and deep and meaningful. I just think that they look cool, and I've been thinking about ideas for a long time. And this really researched when my girlfriend, she also wants to be a tattoo artist. That's like her dream job right now. And her legs are like very tatted up right now, and she's got big plans for getting a lot of pretty big pieces. And so after seeing her go through a lot of the process, I'm like, I think it might be time for me to finally commit. And I think that's also kind of falling in line with a little bit of like the body transformation that I'm trying to go through this year too. That falls in line with the idea of what kind of tattoo that I want. The problem is the tattoo is a little bit aggressive and intense, and I think it might be a little bit much for a first tattoo, but I'm kind of set on committing to this one.
What is it? Is it Elon Musk?
I'm worried.
So here's
it's a giant Cybertruck on his back.
Yeah, is that what it is?
No, so here's the thing. You know how they always say when you come up with a tattoo idea, a lot of times it's good to sit on that idea for a year before you actually get it. That way you know that you actually want it. I'm someone that is going to be very particular about what is put on me, and I feel like if something was even a little bit off or a little bit wrong, it would bug me and bother me for a long time. And so I've got inspired by someone that I watch on YouTube who has these tattoos that are way more abstract, and so because of that, it wouldn't bother me so much, and I think that it looks really cool. So I'll share a picture with you guys, and I'll see what you guys think.
So you want real feedback?
I want real feedback on this, okay? Because I mean, I'm pretty set on committing to it, but this is what we're working with.
It's a lot.
Wow, that's going to be all over your...
It's not going to be as aggressive as that.
Okay.
This is kind of an extreme example, but that is the exact style that I'm going for.
So it's going to be all over your chest and your arms and your neck?
Not neck and not hands, but potentially down to the arms.
Damn,
Oh my God. So you're getting like almost sleeves.
It's not really a sleeve.
It
It's
kinda
more.
looks like
it kind of
vines.
looks like vines or branches that are coming down, and so I think the cool part about it is that it's not perfect, and so that's why I think that I could commit to this.
You're gonna look like you ran through a thorn bush.
Don't get me wrong.
It's kind of cool.
This is an incredible tattoo. But I would suggest there's a website I love to use. I think it's called Inkbox, and you can get temporary, like 2 to 3 week tattoos,
Yeah,
and
I've
you
seen
can
those.
design your own.
Ooh.
You might want to try a few of those out first, just to see if you really like it, because that's a big commitment.
For sure. So my girlfriend actually has the whole like Inkbox set that lets you do freehand tattoos as well. So we do those like regularly.
You should have her do that on you, so it's not so you know if you want to be a walking Jackson Pollock
Hold on,
painting.
Kristen can't get this out fast enough. What?
That's our next bet payoff. Somebody's gonna have. It's not gonna be a real face tattoo, but they're gonna have to get their face completely tattooed
For a weekend?
for like how long does it last?
They last a couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
Oh, that is sweet.
For the length of how long it lasts, you have to
long
have a
payoff.
face tattoo for a couple weeks.
I'm in. I'm not mad. So I am past the stage with my kid where I'm trying to figure out creative ways how to get him to do things. Now it's more like creative ways how to punish him when he doesn't. You're in a very different part of your life.
Yeah. I don't know why it was just the evolution of things, but like sometimes when I'm trying to, I don't know if it's teach my kid or get my kid to do something, I don't know why I'll try to do it with the power of song, but I might just change up the lyrics to match what I'm trying to get the kid to do.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not bad at all. Make it fun for him, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, and I don't know why I just decided to break into song or what even inspired it. But like, so
if you would have asked me of all the parents on the Bert Show, which one breaks in the song to get their kids to do crap, I would have said Kaylee was absolutely last.
For sure. I mean,
not even close.
Well, maybe when you hear just my lyric of this song, but you'll think I don't know what you'll think. Anyway, this Instagram, I was trying to find other parents that might do this, but so you know the song "Popular" from Wicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Galinda, whatever her name is, trying to like teach the other one, or she's going to be, yeah, whatever, to be popular. Well, Nika Diwa on Instagram did her own version of Popular that was a little bit more inspiring.
Popular. Who cares if you're popular? Don't listen to all that noise, all those silly boys. Don't forget to wear your crown. Oh, don't matter what clothes you wear, how you fix your hair. Everything they tell you to be popular.
Yeah. So, you know, just kind of change it up. Who cares if you're popular, right?
I like it. Good lesson.
So
she also has a great voice.
Yes.
Pull that off pretty well.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
most certainly did music theater when she was in school.
So when you have a toddler, 2, 3, 4 years old in bath time, getting them to close their eyes when you're putting soap on their head to shampoo. It put your head back so the soap doesn't run forward and drip down your face.
And you would
then you're
think
not crying.
Yeah, you would think when they do that time and time again and they get the soap in their eyes that they would learn by themselves. But they continue to go in.
Correct. And it's the same reoccurring problem every time you bathe them, which is, so I don't know why during bath time I couldn't even figure out where the song was from, and then I remembered it was when Will Ferrell was burying Blue in Old School, and he was singing this song.
So the closing of the eyes thing makes sense to you because that's all you're trying to teach you.
And so I don't know why.
Dust in the Wind is what you went for?
From Kansas, give Kansas. So Kieran and I, now when she gets in the bathtub, it's really cute because she will... If I even start to sing.
And she's got herself a head of hair.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. It's a huge pain in the A. So this is our version to remind her to shut her eyes. Close your eyes before the soap runs down and burns your eyeballs out. Close eyes before the soap runs down and burns your eyeballs out.
Quite the lyricist you are. Kayla.
Well done. Well done.
That's not bad at all, bro.
I don't know that I liked it on paper, but when I heard it,
It's a great learning experience, right? So now other parents can use that. You're welcome.
Solid song. I think some of you guys are already, before I even start this segment, are going to get it twisted because you're going to say, you guys don't talk about politics. And this is way more about parenting and education than it is about politics.
And the election's over, so technically that's off the table now.
About talking about politics?
I thought so.
I don't think it's probably more heated now than it was before. I think we're smart to stay away from it.
Have you been watching the news?
A lot of it, actually, on both sides. Yeah. So, I don't really care about which candidates or which political parties my kids identify with. I want to make sure they know why they're identifying with it, right? As it stands right now, I've got one that's an actor and he's on the liberal side. And then I've got my 17-year-old who goes to a private Catholic school and a fairly affluent community that he goes to school with. So he was at a retreat with a bunch of his friends last week, and he was sending me pictures from the retreat, and I noticed that on a lot of the kids, they're either wearing a MAGA hat or a MAGA shirt, right? So he wasn't until one of the pictures came in, and he was rocking a MAGA hat. So I made note of it. And what I do know now is that the thing that drives me absolutely crazy, well, not especially with youth, anybody that is backing a candidate but doesn't really know why they're backing them, or they read the headline and they don't exactly know what it's all about. So when he came in, I wanted to have a conversation on exactly what that means. Okay, so you're wearing the hat, and this was not to sway him one way or the other. I'm just glad that he's sort of inside. He has some political insight and knew what a lot of the stuff was. I just wanted to make sure of it. And it wasn't to say, hey, Trump sucks. The country is in a panic. The things that he's doing is too fast. None of that. I just wanted to hear from him what he knew and what he didn't know about backing a political party or backing a political candidate. So I sat him down and I said, I saw the hat that you were wearing with your friends, and I want to ask you about it. And I could see him start to get a little on the panic side, because I'm more in the middle than he and Hayden are. One's to the right, one's more to the left, and I'm kind of in the middle. And I think he thought that I was going to come down on him for being a Trump supporter, which I was not. So I said to him, if you're going to rock that hat, you got to know what it means, man. So tell me what was crappy about America before that Trump is going to come in and make America great again, because that's implied that the country kind of sucks, that we're not great, and now we're going to be great with him. So you guys, I got to tell you, I went into this talk with him more researched than anything I have done, because I wanted to be ready for anything that I wanted to be credible. Because if I'm telling him he needs to be educated, I wanted to brush up on my education also. So he had rattled off about 3 or 4 different things, and I don't want to get into the specifics, but it was clear to me on a couple of them that he was caught up sort of just regurgitating info that his 17-year-old friends have said that probably have been influenced by their parents as well. So when he threw out stuff like the economy, I had statistics behind me, not saying, hey, you got this wrong. I just want to lay out the actual facts for you. Or like he didn't know that undocumented immigrants pay taxes in this country also. I think he and a lot of his friends think they come on over the border, they're taking jobs, they're not giving back, they're not paying taxes, when the truth of the matter is they do. So it wasn't me saying you got that wrong, so change your candidate. Let me just tell you what these issues are and what they mean. And then I was really surprised and happily surprised with how educated he was on most. It was a father and a son having political dialogue, listening to each other back and forth. And I was pleasantly surprised by how much he knew and how strong he was in his opinions and how they were based on fact. Because I just assumed that he was reading headlines and nothing else. And in a couple of the cases, that was the truth. But in the overall scheme of things, it was just what I think is wrong in a lot of families in our communities now, that once you see MAGA, or once you see Trump, or once you see Biden, or once you see Sanders, that you're making an opinion based on very little education.
But after everything was said and done, how did you guys leave the conversation?
Both of us, I think, became more educated to the other person's stance. We talked a lot about religion also, because this was a class trip that he took. So a lot of his values align with Catholicism, where mine do not. So while we disagreed, at least I heard him out, and at least he heard me out also. There was no trying to sway. There was no trying to win. There was just education on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really great that you had those conversations, because it's important for him, especially if he's going to go to a school, like I know he's been interested in Ole Miss, like to come in with information from the other party side, because he's going to join that frat and all he's going to hear is MAGA, 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 MAGA.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that you're also teaching him what the other side believes and why they believe. So even if he's going to still have his more conservative opinions, he at least has respect from somebody he knows about why you believe those things.
I'm sure that it was made you proud to see that he was standing on business, and he did know more than what you anticipated he did. And it's also good that he'll know that, you know, it's one thing to stand on where you are, but also hear the other side out and then have your views and be strong in what you believe.
Yeah, and one of the conversations we had within this whole thing is about how the country is divided. He has a different idea of why it's divided than I do. But part of it is he even said that people aren't listening to each other anymore. And the last thing I wanted to do is have a conversation with him where I wasn't listening to what he was saying and vice versa. So you can still have these conversations with your kid and they can still be very, very positive.
It's possible.
So you're going to get a hat that says, make my house liberal again?
No, mine would probably say, just know what you're talking about. That's all. All right, Kristen, here you are in dry January. Holding strong?
I am holding strong. We just got a couple days left, people. We can make it. Just a couple days left. And I figured, I punished myself so much in January. Why not go ahead and punish myself in February as well for whatever odd reason? So yeah, I opted to do dry January for a multitude of reasons. I felt like I turned to alcohol too much during the holidays, and not for having fun, but more so for a coping mechanism. So I just wanted to do a nice little reset and challenge myself to go the month of January without having to turn to alcohol, which so far I've been able to do.
Can I ask you a question? And I think you already knew this, we already knew this, that alcohol isn't good for you.
Of course not.
But now with it seeming to be like more of a passion for the government, even saying like, hey, we might need to slap like labels that alcohol causes cancer. And that has anything to do with it?
No, I already made this decision prior to that information coming out, because that information came out after the first of the year, and I had made this decision at the end of December, which... When you make that decision, I can take a step back and look at my actions. I went in even harder in December, knowing I was going to go dry in January.
Dead man walking.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And man, New Year's Eve. New Year's Day was not a good day. We did not kick the New Year off right. So... We're almost there, and I have decided that I am going to give up something else in February. It is not going to be alcohol. I am going to continue to monitor my alcohol consumption. I'm going to only allow myself alcoholic beverages on the weekends and not drink during the week, because I can already I get more stuff done. I'm more clear-headed during the show. I'm a more energetic mother. Like I see the benefits, and I understand that. But for February, I am giving up something else. And I have lost count of how many times this has ended up in my DMs, how many Bert Show listeners have sent me this little factoid, this little tidbit, and it's got me doing some self-reflection, a little bit of introspection, one might say. And I'm like, I want to give this up in February and see if it does have any bearing on my psyche.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So, the little factoid that people love to send me time and time and time again on Instagram. Psychologist warns it's a major red flag to relax by enjoying true crime.
Oh, no.
I knew it.
This is going to be way harder than alcohol.
I think it is. So the caption reads, psychologist Dr. Thema Bryant has cautioned against using true crime shows as a way to unwind, suggesting it could be a red flag for unresolved emotional issues. She explained that finding relaxation and depictions of trauma might indicate familiarity with such experiences, potentially signaling a need for counseling. Dr. Bryant urged viewers to reflect on their habits, stating, if your idea of relaxing before you go to sleep is to watch 3 episodes of true crime, then I would encourage you to think about, why is trauma relaxing to me? This perspective emphasizes the importance of examining emotional triggers and their impact on the mental health. All right, so it's... I'm not going to say it's an accurate assessment. It's a fair assessment. I will give her that. So I'm going to do my own little personal experiment. And for the month of February, I am giving up true crime.
But drinking more?
Probably. So what I mean by that, like I am currently listening to a true crime podcast. By the way, it's called 3. It is so freaking good.
It's called what?
3.
3.
It's literally called 3. And the social media aspect of it will blow your mind. It's about 3 young teenage girls. It's bananas, and it's so good. So I'm giving up my true crime podcast. I'm giving up my true crime documentaries. I'm giving up my true crime shows. I'm giving up all of it to see if I do see a difference in my psyche.
So now that you're going to have a little bit more free time on your hands and you're going to need something to fill the void, I think me and Cassie need to come together to convince you to spend your time in February reading the Fourth Wing trilogy.
Fourth Wing? But should I finish Throne of Glass or do I need to start Fourth Wing?
Throne of Glass.
What is this? What are you guys talking about?
So this is a brand new book that just came out in a very popular series. You know, we love our fairy corn, but we also love our dragon corn. We're PG now. We love our dragon corn as well.
That's right, because Onyx Storm just came out, right?
Onyx Storm just came out, and I feel like you need to get back on the same wavelength as all the book talk girlies.
What are you going to do at the end of the month if it does have an impact? Because I did have to give up true crime. I loved Crime Junkie, and it was affecting me in such a way. But, you know, I had a lot of mental problems, so I feel much better now. But if you enjoy it and it's not affecting you currently, hopefully
Not
it
that I'm
won't
aware
change.
of, but that's the thing. Like, I think we think we're self-aware of, like, sometimes we are self-aware and other times we can be very self-ignorant and we can think like, this isn't affecting me. I'm totally fine. When in actuality, you take something away and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize this was actually having such a negative effect on my mentality and my mental health. So I chose the shortest month.
I was about to say that. That was the smartest thing you did. I noticed.
But this may sound trivial, but this is it is something I genuinely enjoy. Again, I don't know what that says about me as a person that I enjoy this. But I think this is going to be a lot more difficult than giving up the alcohol.
Kristen's going to be taking so many things away from herself in 2025. She will unknowingly be Amish in December.
I can't wait for you guys to try my homemade butter. It's going to be amazing.
And no more electricity for Kristen either.
The Bert Show.